Okay, I've officially lost. I'm a crazy person. I'm literally crying. About f***ing cities. About cities.
Hi, it's Editing Daphne jumping in before the start of this video to give you some context because this vlog evolved from when I started reading the book to when I finished reading the book and then had the epiphany, this idea to go on a New York City tour of all the 5 boroughs to see the locations mentioned in the story. I wanted to pop in here first to ground us in this video's goal. All right, so I'm gonna switch over. Here is a map of all 5 boroughs. We have Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and here are the locations we are gonna visit. Let's go back in time to when I first picked up The City We Became, when I happened to be wearing this same exact cozy hoodie. Hi, it's me, Daphne, and welcome to today's reading vlog. This is a spontaneous one that I hope to make fun for you guys. I am reading The City We Became for my New York City book club here in the city with my friends. I've read up to page 18, and I'm freaking obsessed with it already. It just is written so beautifully. It's a book about New York City and how it's like literally living, breathing alive as a city and how other cities have come alive, and it's like a really rare, powerful thing to happen. And I just think it's so cool how it's written. It reminds me of a couple of these like black, trippy, wild movies that my husband really enjoys. I'll probably like pop some up because I'm not gonna remember the names of them off the top of my head. But they give that kind of energy. I was itching to write in it. This is just the library copy. I don't own this one. So that's why you saw 2 of them. I went to McNally Jackson a couple hours ago and picked up my own copy so I can annotate in it. I'm just so excited. I texted the group chat saying like, I'm loving it. I need my own copy. And then I updated them. I was like, I pulled the trigger. My friend Maddie just started it today and she's also loving it. Monica listened to the audiobook and she listened to like the graphic audiobook version, which was her first time ever, and she said it was really cool. And then our other friend Trev, they read it in like a binge session and then quickly picked up the second one and then finished it super fast too. So clearly they loved it and I'm just so freaking happy. I think it's so special to read a book about New York City when you've experienced New York City. I mean, obviously you can enjoy it if you just love city life in general, but just knowing New York City decently well, not that I'm an expert at New York City, but like having been to the public library, having run down the FDR highway, having walked across many of the bridges, whether it's like the Brooklyn Bridge or riding the city bike across the Williamsburg Bridge, like just knowing it, you know, spending time in Chinatown, just knowing the city like decently well just makes this come alive so much more. And I'm just eating it up. And I think it's so cool that my New York City friends are reading a New York City book like this. It's February as I'm filming this, so we wanted to read a Black author in particular, and N.K. Jemisin is just so renowned. Just even according to this cover, it says she's a 4-time Hugo Award-winning author. I own her Broken Earth trilogy. I've only read the first one, and I want to do a binge of that series at some point this year. And this I like knew of, but it wasn't really on my radar. I was like, it sounds kind of weird and quirky. But that was a couple years ago. So now that I've lived in New York City for nearly 4 years, it just hits that particular spot that just makes being a person that enjoys New York City so much fun. I wanted to plan out my annotation strategy with you while I get ready to dive deeper into this fabulous book. We start off in the prologue from the perspective of this young black man who is homeless. He got kicked out of his house from his mom, and I think his dad is dead, and he's just trying to survive. He meets this guy named Paulo, who ends up being Sao Paulo, which is a city. He's like giving birth to New York as it's becoming alive. And there's this like evil that's like trying to destroy the city, and it like makes like monsters out of police officers and stuff. At least that's all I've seen so far, where it's like two police officers are just like patrolling as they normally do in the city to keep everybody safe, and then one starts like twitching and his like eye starts bulging out and his shoulder starts expanding, and then all of a sudden they turn into like this glob monster of a cop. It's just so cool. And he like paints graffiti, and he paints this like big black hole, and he's like, oh, it's a mouth. But he doesn't really know what he's doing, but he somehow just like knows what's correct. And the hole starts breathing. You can like feel the city breathing. So he like makes more of them. And I assume he makes them in each borough, because I'm pretty sure each borough is gonna come alive. I'm so excited. I think it's so beautifully written, and I'm eating it up. So I'm gonna go read, and I'll talk to you later. I love how the imagery and the magic and the like quirky weirdness of this book is. It's just so awesome.
Guys, this quote is fucking sending me. I lived in Hoboken for 6 years. I went to college in Hoboken. He goes, and just to add insult to injury, I backhand its ass with Hoboken, raining the drunk rage of 10,000 dude bros down on it like the hammer of God. Port Authority makes it honorary New York, motherfucker. You just got jerseyed. I'm dead.
I'm gonna like highlight every page. Oh my god, he's playing Russian roulette, rock, paper, scissors. That's so cruel. Are these like one of the detectives or whatever? I have been reading this book. It's Tuesday. I really need to finish it soon, because my meeting with my book club friends is on Thursday night. I just got to chapter 3, and I'm freaking in love with this book. I love it so much. It's so fun. It's so imaginative. A lot of the things that are happening and like the powers of the characters, like they don't know why they're able to do things or like why they know certain things. They just have this instinct because they are a part of the city, which I'm sure could be frustrating for some people, but like, I don't care. I love it. Got to chapter 3 and I literally was laughing out loud. So far I've met Manhattan, who goes by Manny. Then we ran into Brooklyn, who's a woman whose actual like born name is Brooklyn. Manny doesn't remember his life prior to getting off the train at Penn Station, and like his memory got erased. And he's like, what is happening? And he just like became Manhattan, and he was like figuring that out. But I don't think that's normal, because Brooklyn remembers her life previously. Like, she's a middle-aged woman who has a child and a past that she remembers. So he's like, why don't I remember my life? And then I get to chapter 3, and we have Our Lady of Staten Island, spelled Aislyn. And I died. I just think that is so freaking funny for some reason. I don't know, like, is that a real name? Maybe it's a real name, but I just think it's so funny to spell it that way. To make it, like, more namey. I just think it's hilarious. I can just totally picture parents being like, yeah, we named our child Island, but you spell it Aislyn. The enemy in this book is, like, this magical, like, foil to the cities, like, around the world. We don't really know what their purpose is and stuff, besides just being there to destroy the cities. In the prologue, we meet like the heart of New York, which was its own personified person as like a whole, like a collective of all the boroughs. and he battled the enemy and seemed to win, but something happened where he got hurt and he like glitched out and disappeared. And that's when the other characters came to be and split, which is unusual because we've met Sao Paulo, who is another city. At first he's introduced as Paulo and you're like, oh, it's just like some guy. Or like, okay, you don't really know what's happening. And Paulo has a friend named Hong. And you find out that Sao Paulo is the city in like, where is it? Like Brazil. And then Hong is Hong Kong and like these other like major cities that have become personified. Like not all cities are personified. You have to like reach a certain level as a city. It's so interesting as like a concept. They said they've only seen this happen where the city got split up once before, and that was London, I believe, and I don't know if London survived. But it's just so cool. I am obsessed with it. So I'm excited to learn about Miss Island Houlihan next. We know Queens is in trouble because Manhattan and Brooklyn have gotten this sense. I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, I'm still pretty early days, but yeah, I'm not going to tell you too much because I want you to read this, but I'm just trying to like pique your interest.
Hi, it's me, Daphne, and welcome to this segment of the vlog. So because the city we became takes place in New York City and I happen to live in New York City, I wanted to show off some of the cool places that come up in the story. So we're starting off here on this beautiful rooftop so you can get a good view of Manhattan while we're here. You can see so much. So to the right where you're looking now is Brooklyn over the East River. Behind me is Upper Manhattan. You can see a bit of City Hall. You can see in the distance the Empire State Building and some of the other iconic tall structures. And then if you look this way, you have FiDi with the World Trade Center, which is another iconic skyline feature here in New York City that we love. I'm gonna be taking you around the city, showing you some of the cool spots. So let's go explore. All right, and then quickly, because we're up here and we have a good view, this is the FDR highway that is mentioned early on in the story. There's a battle that happens on this highway. It's more uptown. We're obviously really far downtown, but this is the highway that is referred to in the book. In Lower Manhattan, it's elevated. It's above ground level, but as you go further down, it does go back to normal ground level. Oh, and these are the bridges too. This is the Brooklyn Bridge, this brown one here, iconic obviously. And then this middle one is the Manhattan Bridge. It's blue. Chase and I ran across this the other day, pretty cool. And then the one furthest in the distance is the bridge that's mentioned in the book, which is the Williamsburg Bridge, another iconic bridge that hopefully I will get a closer shot for you in this video. Hello and welcome to the Staten Island Ferry Port here on the Manhattan side. It's a bit windy, so please excuse any wind sound. Obviously, we have our Staten Island character. She goes to her ferry on the Staten Island side. Obviously, I'm not going all the way to Staten Island, but here is where we can access it from Manhattan. A lot of people commute from this location. And fun enough, my really good friend Elena lives in Staten Island, and she so graciously took some clips for us in Staten Island to give us a sense of a normal Staten Island suburban street where a lot of the story takes place when we are in the Staten Island location. So we can cut to that as well.
Okay everyone, welcome to Staten Island. We are walking down a typical residential street. The only difference between here and the other boroughs, the main difference is probably the amount of trees and greenery, front lawns that are on these residential streets. Today's a colder day, so there aren't many people outside, but on a warmer day, there would be tons of kids outside screaming, riding their bikes, or playing basketball in their driveways. Staten Island is known for its very friendly environment, close-knit atmosphere, so if you were to go outside or go for a walk, you'd probably see a lot of very familiar faces. It can definitely get very busy and chaotic because there are so many people here, but It's definitely a cozier small town vibe.
We are now at Penn Station. Hopefully you can see it behind me. This is the main entrance. It is a part of Madison Square Garden, which has the basketball courts, and they transform it for hockey, I think, and concerts for sure. I actually used to walk down this street a lot. Oh my gosh, it is so windy. This street here, where you can see the Empire State Building behind me, or in front of me, because I worked, where was I coming from? Actually, I used to work at 1 Penn, which is over there. But I used to walk down the street all the time, like rushing down the street. I don't remember. That's a shame. Maybe it was when I was coming from a client site or something. But anyway, this station is a hub for NJ Transit. This is the last stop for a ton of lines that go deep into New Jersey, bringing everybody commuting into the city here at this location. And it also houses a bunch of Amtrak trains. Sorry, I'm trying to block the wind. Amtrak trains. So this is where we meet our character, Manny, for the first time. I'm going to go actually inside the train station and show you what it was like when he came up off the train and first walked into Penn Station from the underground. Manny definitely came out of a train just like either of these two into Penn Station. Now, you can connect to Moynihan Hall through these tracks as well. Moynihan is pretty much just Amtrak only. They only show the Amtrak trains, which go through the whole country. But it didn't say that Manny came out into Moynihan Hall. It said he came out onto Penn Station. And I imagine him coming up actually on one of these really tall escalators. So I'm just going to take the ride up into Penn Station as he did while he was carrying his suitcase. Okay, so I imagine Manny coming out of the train into this escalator, just like this. With his suitcase. And this is like non-spoilery because it was still very early on in the story, but he feels a little woozy and he kind of like blacks out a bit on the escalator while he's going up, and some New Yorkers help him out, and they help him once he gets into the proper Penn Station area, which I'm about to arrive at. So this is the main area of Penn Station where people wait for their trains on the ground level, and they have the board up here. Literally, I imagine him being pulled over by those helpful people like right here, like right there. So I could just visualize it so well, which is another reason why I love books that take place in New York, especially when I know the spots really well, because it's just like such an easy way to visualize everything. So it's so fun. All right, so this is Moynihan Hall. I'm standing in front of the taxi stand here. And then this is the back side of Penn Station with Madison Square Garden being the main feature. This is where the nicer Amtrak trains can be caught. Well, I mean, the trains are the same, but like the hall is nicer. So I'll show it to you. They've modernized this building a lot more compared to Penn Station. Penn Station has some hallways that are really modern and new entrances and stuff, but the area I showed you was really old, hasn't really changed that much in many years. But this area is super nice. It's kind of like a throwback to an old-timey train station, but with such a modern take on it. And I just think it's a really pleasant place to be. The skylight is beautiful. And they have like a food hall. The post office is connected to here. Just a lot more comfortable in general here. Very, very clean and well-kept bathrooms. They're very nice here. If you ever need a place to pee that doesn't require you to buy something, you could come here. Hello, we are in Central Park and I am standing in front of Bow Bridge, which obviously is another important location for the story. Very early on, We're here with the true essence of New York personified. He's doing a lot of like epic battle moments and gets transported here because it feels like if there's going to be a heart in your mind of New York City, it's probably going to be in the middle of Central Park on a beautiful bridge like this. So this is where we are today, and it's just such a gorgeous sunny day today. There are so many people in the park, a lot of the horse carriages going around, which have their own little ethical concern. You know, some people question how well the horses are being taken care of and all that, but I've never done it, but it does seem lovely if the horses are being taken care of properly. You can oversee all these beautiful buildings overlooking the park, and it's just such a nice mix of a natural setting with the beautiful green grass and then the urban cities surrounding it. I love it. So here we are in Central Park. Let's go take a closer look at this beautiful bridge. All right, here we are a little bit closer. This bridge is absolutely stunning. This is like my first time standing on the bridge. Like, I've known about this bridge, but I've never actually visited myself, and I love it. It's very romantic. You can see the geese chilling in the water. They're kind of giving swan vibes. They're just not as like picturesque as a swan, but just so lovely. I always wanted to live closer to Central Park because there's just so much to explore. It's such a big, beautiful park, and there are these hidden spots just like this. I mean, like, obviously people know about this spot, but like, it's kind of a trek to go visit. But if you lived closer, you would just walk it all the time and just enjoy these beautiful views and spots and all the pictures we could take if we lived closer. So, just so romantic. It just makes New York that much more romanticized in general. And it's very hilly here too, so look at these beautiful paths. And it's definitely nicer in spring and summer when like the trees are green. Hike into the rock, guys. Hike into it. All right, we've made it to Inwood Park. We are at the Shirakopak. Oh my gosh, I'm probably butchering that rock here, which is a Native American symbol. This is my first time in this park. So this rock takes place in the story with Manny because we're still in Manhattan. We're at the very tippy top of Manhattan. So I took the train from Penn Station, which is central-ish, like 34th Street, all the way up here. It took 45 minutes, and then plus me walking through the park, it took 45 minutes. We're at like 207th-ish street, so it's quite the hike. It feels like the city is, you know, small in a way because, you know, you're not really going that many miles in distance, but to move about the city takes a while. So like from me, I live at the bottom of Manhattan. It would take me an hour to get all the way up here, but then it would take me another hour to go south to get to Coney Island. So from here to get to Coney Island is 2 hours. Like, who has time for that? Anyway, it's really special to be here in relation to the story because this is an area where they had quite the battle, and this circle is particularly described as like kind of a safe zone from the monsters that are attacking some of the main characters. I won't go into too much detail, I don't want to spoil things, but they like climbed up on the rock. I'm not going to do that because that feels a bit disrespectful. But that's what they did while they were like fighting off these monsters. Very cool. I'm traversing the city, and it's forcing me to see new places. I really do like this park. Actually. It's super hilly and lots of cliffs and like rock faces and stuff. Manhattan is normally known for being very flat, but once you get past, I don't know, like 2/3 of Central Park on the upper side, it starts getting quite hilly. Like Harlem's very hilly. Like we're even further up than Harlem. It's just very hilly up here. There's the Cloisters Museum, which is a part of the Met, which is on the top of this like giant mountainous hill. So yeah, very hilly over here. I'm sure people get very strong thighs and calves if you live out this way. So let's keep going on this New York City journey exploring these cool spots.
Also, please like this video if you haven't already. I am working so hard to like hit all these spots for you guys. I'm having so much fun, but it is such a labor of love and it's a lot of work. Okay, like it's all New York City, but like everything is pretty spread out. So yeah, please give it a thumbs up if you haven't already. I would really, really appreciate it. It just shows how much you're enjoying the video and you appreciate my hard work. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep going.
Guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I was gonna update you in the morning, but I'm gonna update you on something small right now because it just made me giddy. I'm this far along. I've got a little over 100 pages left, like 110 pages. And there's a place mentioned in the story. I'm not gonna tell you why because it's kind of spoilery, but it's Old City Hall Station, which is a decommissioned station that isn't in use anymore, that like there's no way to get to it officially. But I've been to it in real life because you can secretly like pass, not secretly, but like, well, maybe it's kind of secret. So if you're on the 6 train and you're going downtown, the last stop in Manhattan for that line is officially Brooklyn Bridge City Hall. There's no more stops after that. So they all say, this is the last stop, get off the train, no more stops on this train, deboard the train, whatever, right? But you don't listen to that announcement. You stay on the train and you're like, where do the trains go after they pass through the last stop? You know what I mean? Some of them will just stop, like they'll go and then they'll go back the other way. But this one doesn't do that. It'll come in and then you all get off and then it'll continue that direction, but it's the last stop. So you're like, what's going on? So you stay on and it'll leave the last stop and it's gonna pass through like this beautiful, historic old City Hall station that nobody has access to anymore. And you can see this like station that was closed. I just looked it up on Google in like 1945 for some reason. I guess because it was just too close to this previous stop that's still working. So you'll go past it and it's a curved station, so it'll curve around and then the train will be facing the uptown direction on the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge City Hall station when it comes back through. So it's like you do a little loop around and that's how you can see this hidden station that's mentioned in the book. And it's just fun because it's like a special moment to like realize this location in the story. And I'm like, I know that. And that's like right over there. I like live so close. See, now things like that is what makes this book so special for people that know New York City to a certain level. Like obviously I don't know all the boroughs. I only know my stomping grounds, like bits of Brooklyn. I live in Manhattan, so I know mostly like lower Manhattan, I'd say, like anything below Central Park. You know, we don't spend that much time further up in Manhattan unless we're going to like the museums and stuff or Central Park in itself. Like I've been to Harlem because my friend lived up there and I have another friend that lives like way uptown that I've been to their place a couple times. But I haven't spent too much time that far. I definitely haven't spent any time in the Bronx since I've lived in New York City these past 4 years. Queens, I definitely haven't spent much time in there either. Like, I don't know those boroughs as well. And Staten Island, I have a relationship with Staten Island because I have college friends from Staten Island. And interestingly enough, for the plot, Staten Island is a white woman. Everybody else is fairly diverse. So Manny is ambiguous. He's very ambiguous. He could be black, he could be Latino, he could be Native American, he could be like anything. He's very ambiguous. He doesn't even remember his past life, so unconfirmed, which makes it interesting. And then Brooklyn, she's a black woman, middle-aged, successful like politician woman, but former DJ MC. And then Queens is a young Indian woman. She's like a grad student or something. She doesn't even have like her green card. She's on a student visa and all this stuff. And then Bronca is a Native American 70-year-old woman who's like born and raised New York City, and she's such a badass. I love her. I'm kind of going on a rant for somebody like dressed like this filming on my phone camera. And then Staten Island is this like very sheltered 30-year-old white woman who still lives at home, who has a horrible father who's like very racist. He's like this policeman and stuff, and she has these like horrible racist prejudice ideas and opinions because of her surroundings, which is sad. But I just think
not that my friends are racist at all, but I just think it's interesting because the only people I know from Staten Island are white women. And actually maybe one white guy, but we're not friends. I like knew him years ago from school. But yeah, just interesting. And Staten Island's the one causing the problems in the story, TBH. And it's kind of sad because it's like, oh, Staten Island's like the forgotten borough and all this stuff. And she's kind of not been prioritized by the group because she's kind of hard to get to. Like, I don't even know if Staten Island wants to be a part of the city from the vibes I'm getting from how the story is told. Just general. I don't know if that's based off much truth, but yeah, a lot of sus stuff going on from the author's perspective in Staten Island. But yeah, I was just so excited to share that with you. Bye for now.
All right, we are in front of City Hall, downtown Manhattan, and we're gonna be checking out the City Hall station stop. That is like a secret hidden location in the city that isn't an active spot anymore, but there's a secret way to see it. So we're gonna check that out. Going into the subway, baby. We're getting on the 6 train for the ride. All right, we're at City Hall, Brooklyn Bridge station stop. This is normally the last stop on the train.
Last stop, no passengers.
Everybody's getting off.
Brooklyn Bridge, City Hall. Staying clear of the closing doors.
But we're gonna stay on. We're not gonna get off the train because we wanna do the loop to see the secret City Hall station. It's called City Hall Station normally, right, babe? Yeah. Which is a closed station and a pivotal location in the book. So I want to show you. So we're just going to stay on and not get off on this last stop. We're going through past the last stop and we're going to circle around. The first time we did this, I was actually really scared. I was like, where does the train go after the last stop? I'm scared. It's so noisy. This car is way noisier than the last one. It's coming up. And here's the station. This is the secret station. City Hall. And just like that, it's been seen. There you have it. The secret City Hall station. If you stay on the 6 train and do the loop around. Hello, you find me in front of the Brooklyn Arts Museum. You find me in front of the Bronx Museum of the Arts. This is the extension building, actually. They're doing some renovations on the larger halls of the museum. It's all closed off, so it's just this small section that we're able to see today. And in spring 2026, it should reopen again. But this is where Bronca spent most of her time battling the woman in white, and I'm excited to show it to you guys. So welcome to the Bronx. All right, we are at the Bronx Museum, and one of the halls, I'm not sure if this is the hall where it takes place for the majority of the book, but this is like just the main area for the museum, and I'm just so, I don't know, it just feels really special to be here. It's really cool vibes here, showcasing like the culture of the Bronx, it seems. And this exhibit is with Futura 2000, so there's a lot of like graffiti art, sneakers, breakdancing stuff. So yeah, just very cool. In the book, there we have our Bronx character who works at the museum, and she is confronted by the villain of the story here as well. And some big confrontations happen in this location, so it's pretty major. So that's this location. Hello, everyone. I'm over here. We are in the financial district in front of the iconic bull. The bull is a symbol of finance in some capacity. It has to do with like the stock market or something, but it is a very iconic tourist spot, iconic tourist picture here in this part of Manhattan. Our characters pass by it late in the story. Hopefully you can see the bull through the crowd. Again, it is very, very busy. It's like noon. People like to take pictures at the front of the bowl, and also they like to take pictures at the back of the bowl where you see its lovely butt and balls. So we'll get some closer shots for you, but yes, here we are. Good morning. I am here in Long Island City, Queens, in front of the iconic Pepsi-Cola sign. This is a beautiful view from the Manhattan side looking into Queens. This is my first time being this up close and personal with it. So Queens is the location of another one of our main character boroughs. This is her home. She just lived in like a standard walk up. This neighborhood has so many new built high rises, which is pretty cool. It seems like a very safe area. I mean, nobody's bothering me here. People are just enjoying the walk along the water, walking their dogs. There's so many children here. It's like 8:30 in the morning. So, sorry for being a bit backlit, but I cannot help that at this time. I really enjoy this neighborhood, Long Island City. I've only been here once before, I think. One of my old high school friends moved here and I went to her housewarming party. She lived a little bit further into Long Island City. Obviously, we're right on the edge because we're by the water. I only took one stop in from Manhattan. But I've been loving doing this Explore NYC project for this video. Obviously, I've lived in New York City for 4 years nearly now, but I haven't explored all the spots up close and personal. So I've been able to walk about neighborhoods I've not spent much time in or have ever visited before, which is such a cool experience that I'm really grateful for. So this neighborhood is called Long Island City because it's connected to Long Island, and at the end of Long Island is the Hamptons. Queens as a borough is physically connected to Long Island City as like a landmass. And Long Island is a very, at times, expensive place to live because it's close to the city. It's in between here and the Hamptons. Oh my gosh, this helicopter is crazy. It just took off. Basically, in Long Island, you could get a shack for $1 million versus a proper house in New Jersey or like a McMansion in Texas. So very desirable real estate, though, some of the neighborhoods are older and not as expensive. But generally, it's an expensive place to try to own a home. Definitely would have considered living here in the next chapter of my life, except my family and Chase's family all live in New Jersey. So having to cross 2 rivers is really hard. Obviously, you have access to the subway system, but for me to get here, it was like 40 minutes, and I was already just one borough away, technically. You know what I mean? Like, I only had to cross 1 river, so trying to cross 2 rivers, it's just really hard. My friend Shireen, she lives in Jersey, and her family lives in Long Island, and her driving back and forth has been difficult for her. It takes forever. So usually my beacon home is this building here with the pointy tip top, which is the World Trade Center building that is all the way downtown in Manhattan. But because of the angle we're on, it's actually not like, I don't know, the angle is weird because this other building here, the tallest building that's rectangular on this side, is also close to my building, but they look so far apart. Usually they seem close, but just because of the angle that we're on, they look so far away. This is the famous Empire State Building, peeking through the buildings. Very nice view of that. And then this is the Chrysler Building. And this is another cool one. I don't know what this one is. I think it's like attached to maybe Bank of America or something. I don't know what that one is. It has some cool tourist things in there. I've never been. But yeah, this is the view from here. This is uptown. I don't know what this bridge is, but it goes over Roosevelt Island, which is pretty dope. They have this really cool trolley situation. Just imagine like being on a ski resort vibe. I'll put in a clip of me riding it a couple summers ago. I went on a date with Ina at a hotel rooftop bar, which is probably this building, and we took the trolley, which was fun. Or the gondola? I don't know what you call it. Obviously, there's more to Queens than just this neighborhood, and there's definitely different vibes to different neighborhoods in Queens, though I haven't spent that much time in Queens, so this is the best I could do, but this place is so nice, and I hope you enjoyed visiting Long Island City with me. Let's move on. Hello, welcome to the Brownstones of Brooklyn. It's gorgeous here. We actually have the river behind us, the East River. Chase wants to look that way.
Beautiful views of Lower Manhattan from here. Just imagine Brooklyn, our character in the book, living in one of these historic brownstones. This is where she had some of her epic battles against the woman in white, living here, looking out one of those windows, talking to her daughter, and just enjoying this beautiful historic neighborhood. Good diversity here. We love Brooklyn. This is definitely a more affluent area, I would say. There's warehouses and concerts. What else, babe? A lot of great restaurants, bars, and we love it. I'm on my run right now, so we stopped along the way for you. Hi, I'm almost done with this. I'm literally like 8 pages from being done, but I just had to annotate this one part that's specifically talking about New Jersey, like the cities along the Hudson, just a stone throws away from Manhattan, and how like they're obviously not a part of New York City, but like we're so close, and a lot of the people that live along that border spend a lot of time in the city and love the city. And personally, you know, I've lived in New York City for 4 years, but due to life changes and things that we're trying to like level up in and grow in this next phase of our lives, like me and my husband, we're looking to move to Jersey to get more space. But we want to be close to the city. We love the city. Chase still goes into the office in the city. We have friends in the city. It just makes me sad because I love New York City. I never expected to live here. My husband wanted to move here and I was down, but it wasn't anything I ever envisioned for myself. But now moving back to New Jersey soon, I just feel my heart break. Something in here that they mentioned about New Jersey healed something a little bit. Basically, there's been this whole drama throughout the book with Staten Island. She doesn't want to be a part of the city. She's never even stepped foot in any of the other boroughs in her whole 30 years of life. Like, she just rejects it. There's this whole sense of like what belongs in Staten Island and what doesn't. And she's been an issue in the plot. And then in this, they mention one of the characters who's from Jersey City, which is a city like along that Hudson River I was talking about. It says every single person I've ever met from Jersey City says they're from New York. Not to New Yorkers, because we're assholes about it. This is a New Yorker saying it. But to everybody else. And the whole world accepts that, right? Because to most people with sense, a city that's in spitting distance from Manhattan, closer even than Staten Island, might as well be New York, right? And I'm like, please? I'm gonna be moving to Jersey, but I don't want to not be a part of New York, you know? Like, oh, I just want to be a part of New York still, you know? I feel that really bad. Like, technically, obviously, we're not. But if it's a magical city and it doesn't abide by the legal and political boundaries of the city, like Jersey City, Hoboken, Weehawken, could all be seen as like the outer reaches of New York, in the same way that freaking like Queens and the Bronx are so far. Staten Island is so far. You know what I mean? Like, it would take me like 1 hour from Lower Manhattan to get to like Queens. The city is huge, and to just get to Jersey from where I am in Manhattan takes 10, 15 minutes. So, yeah. I was just like, see me, I feel seen. Thank you for that. I just really felt that was important to mention, especially to document for myself if I ever watch this back, of like how I'm feeling in this moment about loving the city but not expecting to love the city, never expecting to experience the city in this way, and then mourning it so much, having to go back to Jersey, a place that I've lived my entire life, except for my time in the city. I've been a Jersey girl since I was born, when I went to college, and then a few years after college until I moved here when I was, I guess, like 26, 27. Just contemplating that. I do feel sad, but I desperately just still want to be like, oh, I live in New York. Like, I can't actually say that, but like, it's still in my soul, it's still in my heart. I still love it, and life will be different, hopefully for the best, and I'll still get to enjoy the wonderful things that New York City has to offer, and the spontaneity and the liveliness and food and the events and the people, and yeah, there's just nothing like it that I've ever come across. So Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, I'm gonna finish this book and go to book club soon. So I'll talk to you later. Why do I feel this so hard? I'm like literally crying. I could like literally cry. I'm on the verge of tears. Okay, I've officially lost. I'm a crazy person. I'm literally crying. Literally crying. About fucking cities. About cities. It's not even the plot. It's just like me personally and like how this is so hitting it for me personally. It's ridiculous. It just shows you how important this shit is to people. It's so stupid. Okay, I have to finish this book. It's just I can't even get through one page. I'm like crying over New Jersey.
Hello. Okay, now we are on Pier 25. It is a bit windy, so I'm going to try to protect you from the wind as much as I can. But this is the view of Jersey City. Please excuse the helicopter if you can hear it. This is a great place where people like to jog and just enjoy the good weather when it's spring and summer. This pier has like a football type field, like a soccer field. What am I, British? Sand volleyball courts, mini golf, a playground, and it's very nice here. We're along the West Side Highway. So this is the Hudson River. The Hudson River is the river that separates New Jersey from New York. The river you saw or will see with the bridges, like the Brooklyn Bridge and the Williamsburg Bridge, goes over the East River, which separates Manhattan from Brooklyn and Queens. You can see the end of Jersey City when I do my little pan across, and then there is a wavy looking building which is like the Newport area. They have their own subway system that brings people into the city. It's called the PATH train. I use that very often because I'm in and out of New Jersey. A lot of my friends still live in New Jersey. And then the clock tower that you see is the beginning of Hoboken, which is another city named in the book. So Jersey City is where one of our main characters that is friends with the Bronx. She's from Jersey City, and then Hoboken is called out as well. And I think in the second book, maybe Hoboken becomes more prevalent, but I spent many years in Hoboken. I went to college in Hoboken. I lived in Hoboken for 2 years after graduating, and it's a great place. The thing that I love about the New Jersey side is that it's very clean. I mean, New York's is great. There's so many things to do. There's so many different types of people, cool events, but generally very dirty. Jersey City and Hoboken in particular are immaculately clean. The streets are always clean. Doesn't matter. I mean, Hoboken is just a square mile, so it's probably a little easier to manage. Here's a beautiful skyline that people enjoy from the New York side, and then the Jersey side people can enjoy the beautiful view and skyline of the New York side. So there you have it. Hello, you find me at the African Burial Ground National Monument. This is a sacred ground found here in the financial district. This was a spot that was mentioned in the book, and because it's local to my home neighborhood, I definitely wanted to check it out. I feel like I've passed by here once before, but not that often. It's not really on the beaten path. Like, I've gone by on the street over, which is where the courthouses are. So yeah, it was really interesting to find out about this. I had not known anything about it before reading it in the book. And I was like, there's a sacred burial ground for Africans in my neighborhood. Like, what? So very special. They have tours going around with the kids, explaining the history and the importance of not disregarding those lives. So very cool. Happy that the city is doing that. And let's move on to other locations. Okay, I usually don't get scared. These steps are really steep. Let's just keep going. And the kids, the young people are just flying down these fucking stairs. I'm like so nervous. My friend Sydney would hate this. She would not come down these stairs at all. All right, this is what I just came down. Look at this shit. Safe to say, I'm probably gonna follow the path this way to go home, because I really don't want to do it again. That was actually terrifying. Hi, you catch me here on the High Bridge, which is a walking bridge that connects Upper Manhattan with the Bronx. So behind me, you see the Bronx borough, and this river that I am standing over is the Harlem River, which was a key setting in the story. Without spoiling anything, one of our main characters stopped along the Harlem River in the middle of the night on the Bronx side and displayed some epic magical abilities, which was very, very impressive and fun to say the least. So I've never been over here. It's pretty cool. I'm just grateful it's a sunny day as well, and it's just a lovely time. Also, I wanted to mention that in this area in general, it's a lot calmer compared to like central Manhattan, which is very touristy and like overly jam-packed with human beings walking around. Here, I had to go through a park, and there are all these like school children playing, enjoying some of the first warm days of spring. So it's very lovely, and I can see how people would enjoy living in the city long term. Hello, welcome to Coney Island. I've been here once before. My first half marathon was the Brooklyn half, and we ran from Prospect Park, which is like central Brooklyn kind of area, all the way down here to the beach. And we ran along the boardwalk past all these beautiful rides that I didn't really take in at the time because I was just mostly focused on finishing the race. Plus, there were a lot of people cheering and all that, so I was a bit distracted. So Coney Island is my last stop on this tour of New York City landmarks from the book The City We Became. This is one of the last locations in the story for the first book, at least. I did pick up the second one, and I'm excited to start it, and I'm gonna probably feature that in a different vlog, but we're not gonna do this whole tour thing again probably because this was a lot. Okay, I will say it did give me a lot of reading time. I've been reading my book on my commutes. It took me an hour to get here, and I got a lot of pages read. Generally, when I think of Coney Island, I think of like an older amusement park. It definitely gives a bit of a dated vibe, and it's kind of creepy. Like there's this character face on a lot of the gates, and he is nightmare fuel. That is for sure. He's very creepy. But at the same time, I love a good roller coaster. I'm like, how have I never been here before? Chase, my husband, said he'd been here as a child, but definitely not since he's become an adult. And I'm like, maybe we should just try it one summer. Come out here. Though I will say, you know, me and Chase, we're very Jersey people at heart. We were born and raised in Jersey, so we do tend to go to the Jersey Shore. And we trust the water down there a little bit more. Like, this water looks fine. But New York has a reputation of not having the cleanest water. So we go more south for that. But it'd be cool to maybe check out the rides and stuff here, just the atmosphere, the boardwalk, the energy at some point, because I'm intrigued. I will also say that the bathroom situation was not great. I went in there. It was not great. It was bad. It was atrocious, okay? That in itself, I need a good, safe place to use the restroom wherever I go. But yeah. It's also interesting to be here pretty much at the end of winter. Like, it's end of March. It's technically spring, but it's very cold. A lot of people still have their puffer jackets on. I'm wearing a scarf right now. But there's still a lot of people here. Behind you, there are a ton of people fishing. There are a lot of people just hanging out on the boardwalk, even though the park is technically closed. That's it, guys. I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little tour. I'm sure I have some stuff to wrap up back home in this video overall, but I think this experience was quite adventurous to say the least, and I'm happy that I pushed myself to do it. I have no issue spending my time on a creative project, but I'm definitely taking the train back home and not spending my money on an expensive Uber because I've been tapping on the subway spending money to move around the city, but hopefully I've maxed it out because there's like a max I think 13 taps per week, and then after that, the rest of your taps are free. And I'm talking tap like Apple Pay tap. But yeah, it's been quite the experience. Thanks for coming along with me on this journey, and I hope you enjoyed exploring New York. See you later.
Oreos. I separated the cookies and the cream. Oh, do you want me to?
Yeah. Monica made these.
Oh, your book is in such nice condition, Daphne.
You think so?
The book I got from the library is like been through some things.
I'm back from book club, and I didn't film that much because we're just chatting and we get caught up, and I don't want to be like, oh, camera, whatever. I just didn't feel like asking if it was okay. But we had a great conversation about the book, and I have my final thoughts to give you. I felt like it was a 5-star in the beginning for sure, and then the pace in the middle got a little slow for me personally, just because the book takes place over like 3 days, and that first day is so long, but it's very important because you're meeting all the boroughs and the different characters and like how they've been initiated into like citydom and all this stuff. So it's really interesting, but I also was like, okay, when is the introduction going to be over? It just felt like the beginning of a book for so long. So that kind of bumped it down to a 4.5, but by the end, you saw how like dramatic and emotional I was getting from my personal experience with the city and like the nearby cities in Jersey and all that stuff. I just couldn't give it anything less than a perfect 5 stars. So that's what I've done. So yeah, loved this so much. Had a great time annotating it. It was really fun to chat about it with my friends as well. And then there's also a sequel called The World We Make. Our friend Trev, who's in the book club, already read the second one. They tend to do that, where we'll pick a book for a book club, and if it's a series, they'll like fly through the series by the time we have our meeting that month. So yeah, they already read the second one, and they said you learn a lot more, and it goes a little bit more in depth in that one with the specific backstories of like Manny and like other cities coming to life and like things like that. So I'm intrigued. I might pick that up sooner than later. Loved it. 5 stars. I think because I love the city and I'm like in the city, it really matters. Read this if you've been to New York, you're gonna go to New York soon, or you know a lot about New York, or like you love New York City content, like you watch a lot of New York based movies, or you follow New York City accounts, and you just like have that vibe. Like I think this will mean that much more. All right, so that's the end of this vlog of me, a New Yorker, a resident of New York City, reading the most New York City book. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it, and obviously it helps out my channel. And I will catch you in another video. Bye.